First on 5, an undercover police officer is recovering in the hospital tonight after being shot multiple times this morning. Police say 32-year-old Ryan Burkhart shot the officer while being taken into custody. Burkhart was also shot multiple times. He's being charged with 5 counts of attempted murder, attempt to elude police, and certain person forbidden to carry a firearm. It all happened during what police say was an undercover operation in Grand Bay. That operation took a drastic turn when Burkhart led police to a field, pulled out a gun, and started shooting. That may have been where things ended, but to really understand what happened, we have to go back to how everything started. News 5's Emily DeVoe has more.
It all started here at the Waffle House around 2 in the morning. An undercover officer in an unmarked car flashed his lights at a man on his motorcycle in the parking lot. A man we now know is 32-year-old Ryan Burkhart.
We were inside Waffle House.
A woman who didn't want to be identified tells us what happened next.
And then all of a sudden the SUV turned on blue lights, and then 2 cars came from the back of the parking lot with blue lights on, and the motorcycle zipped around the SUV out into the road.
Burkhart hopped on his motorcycle and led police across the street to a truck stop when he lost control of his bike, which became visible to us once the sun came up and it was hauled away.
As soon as he done that, he was on foot because that didn't hurt him, enough to stop.
That's when officers followed him to this field behind the gas station next door and realized Burkhart had a gun.
The suspect produced a firearm and struck an officer twice. The officer was transported to a local hospital. The suspect was also shot.
Because the area is so open, bullets were found as far away as this medical center on the other side of the main road.
Anybody that shoots at an officer and gets shot back, sorry about your luck.
My prayers with everybody just needs prayers right about now.
As drivers filled up at the pumps out front, behind the station, investigators combed for hours through the field, marking each piece of evidence with a red or yellow flag. And with each one comes a new detail that could provide answers to what happened hours before. To give you some perspective into how long this crime scene was open, the shooting happened around 2:30 this morning, and investigators didn't leave until around 3 this afternoon. Reporting in Grand Bay, Emily DeVoe, News 5.
And thank you, Emily. Mobile police held a news conference late this afternoon to address the shooting. News 5's Alan Carter is live at police headquarters with more on what was said. Alan?
Well, Mel, the chief giving us a better understanding of this operation and actually all of what went wrong. There were 5 officers that were involved, and they went to arrest the suspect, and that's when the shooting started. We're told that as many as 20 shots were exchanged between the officers and the suspect. As you heard Emily mention, the officer was shot twice, but the suspect was actually shot multiple times. The problem was that he was actually wearing, underneath his clothing, he was wearing body armor, and that really caused a difficult situation for officers.
Well, yes, it could have turned out worse. We could have had an officer killed, but we're very fortunate we didn't. We are unfortunate in the fact that we did have an officer very seriously injured in this incident. But then again, it also, I think, when you look at this particular case and you see this guy prepared with body armor and carrying a semi-automatic weapon with extra magazines, it shows you some of the threats police officers face in the street today. And they're very significant. We're dealing with a more sophisticated criminal that certainly wears much the same equipment that we are and armed very much the same way.
From the scene, officers did recover guns as well as cash and drugs, and they also served a second search warrant at the suspect's home, and there they arrested another person on drug charges. However, they have not released their name at this time. Reporting live at Mobile Police Headquarters, Alan Carter, News 5.
Thank you, Alan. That undercover officer is in stable condition at the USA Medical Center, and that's where we find News 5's Jacqueline Quinn, who's been following this story all day. Jackie?
And Mel, the suspect and the officer are both here at the USA Medical Center, but I can tell you from being here all day that there's been outpouring from law enforcement for this officer, and the reason being is because he was seriously injured. He was hit twice, once in the leg and once in the abdomen. He underwent surgery for that and now is listed in stable but is still considered critical condition. We had a chance to talk with a family friend who says that they are just so thankful that surgery went well, and at this point they're just praying for him. And we also want to let you know at this point that there is going to be, they're telling me that they will continue to pray for him at this point. And again, we will be checking back to see what kind of condition, if anything, changes. But again, the officer and the victim here are still here at the hospital right now. Reporting live in Mobile, Jacqueline Quinn, News 5.